I was dangling the mouse in front of we don't feed live. These are mice are dead. So, and then one of the corn snakes like whipped up and tried to bite the mouse but missed and pulled back and then just grabbed the one next to it, the corn snake next to it by the neck. So I was like, oh no, what am I gonna do now? You start trying to separate them. In the meantime, the one that had been like caught around the neck was wrapping its body around the neck of the other one and like choked it into submission. Leave me alone.
Okay, so
anyway, so this little guy is the eastern hognose snake, and when we bring these guys out, I usually kind of ham it up, like I bring the bag out. The next critter we're gonna bring out is the scariest thing you'll ever find in Ontario forest. You just want to see it? And I bring it out, I'm like, oh, that's cute. That's not scary. But wild ones are, they'll protect themselves by rearing up, like giving a scary display. So they rear up, flare their head out, kind of like a cobra, hiss, and they'll lunge. And it's all an act. Their mouth is closed when they lunge. They will not bite you, ever. And when that fails, if that whatever it is that's bothering them doesn't run away, they'll roll over and play dead. So we sort of ham it out a little bit and do a demonstration like that. And talk about like how, this is a great way for them to defend themselves against natural predators, because they see a big scary snake, they're going to leave it alone, or they see a dead smelly snake and they're going to leave it alone because it's probably not going to taste very good. But then we talk about how people, we see a big scary snake, we whack it with a shovel. And because of that, this is a threatened species. And then we like finish off by basically begging the kids, if you guys are lucky enough to see a hognose snake in the wild, and they're the only ones that do that flaring out and hissing and lunging, then take pictures, take video. It's a completely harmless animal. But at the end of the day, please let them go.
Do snakes grow continuously throughout their lives?
To an extent. So they will grow until they reach maturity, and then they will grow really slowly for another maybe like 60% of their life. But there is a point where they stop growing.
And how do you know if it's male or female?
Excellent question. For some species, it's really easy. For the hognose snake, for example, hot dog here is definitely a male, because a female would be, his age would be 2 or 3 times this size.
Really?
Yeah. For other species, it is not nearly so easy. So there's 2 ways to do it. When they're babies, you can sort of bend them at the tail, right at their cloaca, which is the hole, the one hole for all jobs. And then, if it's a male, his 2 penises might come out.
2?
2. They're called hemipenes. But he might be really good at holding them in. So it's not a surefire way to know. In which case you can take a metal probe, and this is just as pleasant as it sounds, stick it in the tail, stick it into the cloaca, down the length of the tail, not towards the body. If it's a male, it will go in further, because that's the pouch where he holds his hemipenes. If it's a female, it won't go in very far.
Because snakes lay eggs, right?
About 40% of snakes worldwide actually give birth to live.
Really?
Including the garter snake, the water snake, all rattlesnakes, all boas, all vipers, in fact, don't they?
Except for one boa.
Oh, right.
One sand boa that doesn't, because nature loves exceptions.
Yeah, of course.
Is it stressful for the snakes to be held?
No,
A wild one certainly would be stressed, but these guys are so used to being handled that it's.
Hot dog was born at our facility, so and these snakes, it's their full-time job to get passed around to kids and other people, not just children.
Yeah.
Can you tell the personalities after you spend time with them? Like,
They don't really have
they don't have any
personalities.
They just do this all the time.
Turtles are different. There's a little bit more going on up here, so they definitely have personalities. Not so much the snakes.
Snakes, it's not that they're unintelligent. I avoid using that word unintelligent usually during programs. It's just they're very basic animals. They're instinctual. They're not social. They don't interact with each other in the wild. So we can anthropomorphize them if we want, but they don't really have personalities in the traditional traditional sense. Okay, let's move on to another creature, another gorgeous snake. And this species happens to be the longest species you can find in Canada. And this is the black rat snake. And unfortunately, they're not doing so well either. You can only find them in 2 places across the province right now. You can find them along the northern shore of Lake Erie, and also in Kingston, which is pretty close to you guys. You guys live fairly close to where black rat snakes can be found in Ontario. But because they're not doing very well, and because human persecution and habitat loss are both things that play hugely into why they're not doing so well, we talk about these issues, we talk to kids. We try and get them involved, we try and get them to perhaps suggest ideas, things that they could do to help the snake in the wild. And we've had some great answers in the past. We asked the question, these snakes, black rat snakes, they love climbing trees. And they're really good at it. They climb trees to get their food, so they can climb up a tree and eat birds or eat any rodents living in that tree. And as well, they can climb a tree to stay away from things that eat them. And so knowing that, children, what can you do to help the black rat snake, knowing that they need trees? And usually what we're going for is, plant more trees, or, save the trees we already have. But some other great answers, kill all the lumberjacks. One very ingenious girl said that we should build a giant bird feeder. Then all the birds will come to the bird feeder, and then all those birds will get fat and feed the black rat snakes. Another good answer, kill all the beavers. We get some pretty great answers, and it's really nice to get the kids involved and actually thinking and trying to suggest things that they can do on their own. It's been pretty cute. Pretty good snake. Pass around this one.
So this summer I saw some snake, darker colored snake in the Perth area, just outside Ottawa. Would it be a rat snake?
Possibly, if you were in Perth.
Yeah.
Kingston, Perth area, you can find black rat snakes.
Okay, because I was at my friend's cottage and that's pretty much what it looked like.
Yeah, if you're lucky. That's
Fairly possible.
I'd be scared.
So this is Buttercup.
Aww.
Buttercup is a Blandings turtle. He's about 5 years old. So you can tell Blandings turtles apart from other Ontario turtles by the bright yellow chin. And when Buttercup's fully grown, be about this big and have a really high domed shell, kind of like an old-fashioned army helmet with legs. So when we bring out the first turtle, we excuse me, use it to talk about helping turtles to cross roads, which is something that we really try and push. So we explain that you want to carry them across the road only A, if it's safe for you to do so, and B, you want to carry them across the road in the direction that they're going. Because if you take her back to that nice big pond you saw behind you, that's probably where she came from. And she's just going to come back, and all you've done is delay her. And you don't want to take them home and keep them as a pet because it is A, against the law, and B, that she can't lay her eggs. So, yeah, and for the most part, we say that for 7 of our 8 species, it's easy enough to just pick them up, carry them across the road, 2 hands if it's too big. And we say, and then there's an exception, of course, bring the snapping turtle.
And the snapping turtle is one of my favorite animals to talk about because they kind of look like a dinosaur. Because they kind of are dinosaurs. They've been around on planet Earth for about 60 million years or so. So back when the creatures related to this guy were roaming around on the planet, there were actual dinosaurs walking around as well. So they're a really neat creature to bring out. Kids usually get really excited because this is maybe one of the few animals that they had heard of before. So you always get kids yelling out, "Snapping turtle!" before you can bring the animal out to show them. And as Jeffrey was saying, one of the big things that we try and push, something that we really hope all the kids take away from our programs, is how they can help turtles. Because turtles in our province are not doing very well. 7 out of the 8 species are at risk, meaning that their populations are plummeting. And our one species that isn't, the painted turtle, probably isn't doing that well either. It's just a matter of time before it gets at-risk status as well. And so we do try and tell kids and get them really excited about helping turtles across the road. So picking them up, carrying them across. Except of course, you really shouldn't pick up a snapping turtle. And Jaws, he's totally cool with being held. He's being held by us during programs since he was born, so pretty much since he was born, so he's very comfortable with human beings. But most snapping turtles will not know when you're trying to help them. They will get scared, they will try and snap in defense of themselves. Because unlike turtles like Buttercup, snapping turtles can't hide their heads and their legs inside their shells. They have a tiny plastron. That's what the belly shell is called, a plastron. And you just snap there, John. He doesn't like it when his belly is being shown because, of course, anything can come along and just eat all of this. Eat all these nice, juicy, meaty bits since he can't protect himself by hiding in a shell. So he snaps in defense. That's the only way that you can really stop things from eating him in the wild. And so if you want to help out a snapping turtle, keeping in mind that they can reach their necks all the way to their back legs if they want to. It surprises a lot of people, but they have very long necks. So if you want to help them out, one way that we suggest is that you can grab a stick and wave it in front of their face. And then the snapping turtle will grab onto the stick. You have a turtle on a leash. Kids really seem to like that idea, the whole turtle on a leash thing. They seem to really attach to that idea and focus on it. But you can also do things like get a car mat and kind of drag them across by shuffling them onto a car mat. Or as well, you can get a shovel if you have a shovel in your car. You can be creative. We encourage kids to be creative, but just to be aware that they can snap and that you therefore shouldn't wave your hand in front of their face or anything silly like that. But that they ultimately need our help too, because they are also not doing so well here in the province of Ontario. And I don't think we can really pass Jaws around to you guys. So sorry. We'll keep him in a box here. You guys can see him up close if you would like.
All right. So Scales and through the Reptiles at Risk program offers a number of teaching resources. First off, I think I completely forgot to mention the Reptiles at Risk programs. Like when we actually go into the classroom, that is free. That is no charge to the school whatsoever. The funding for that comes from the government, so they pay for it. And the same is with these things. So these are normally full with all of this stuff. So one of these things will come with empty turtle shells, some snake skins, a few activities. So this is an example of one. It's like a matching game. So a picture, and then there are just description cards. Get the kids to match them up. Guide to Ontario's turtles, Guide to Ontario's snakes. And this is a guide for helping out Ontario's reptiles and amphibians. So it teaches you how to make a hibernaculum, like a hibernation site, among various other things. And then finally, we have these, which are curriculum-based lesson plans for every grade. I think they're all for the science curriculum. I don't think there's anything for...
There are some physical activity ones.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So that's an example of one. We only brought the one for the primary, but we do have them available for secondary grades as well. And they don't just come in the kits. You can just download them straight off of our website. I think has been set up right.
Yep. Grades 1 through 8 are on the website, but high school grades we have them. We just don't have them online yet. But you can email us for them, and we'll happily give them to you for free.
So, just like with the programs themselves, the kits are free of charge. We only ask that you pay for for shipping, or you can just come to the center and pick them up.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that brings us to the end of the program.
So where is the center?
We're based in Aurelia, which is just north of Barrie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why not? Get out more animals.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. This is the one non-native species that we tend to bring to our programs, the corn snake, because ultimately the big message that we try and get across is that kids can help these creatures, but also taking them out of the wild is never good. Because it's really great when you get kids really excited about it and suddenly they want a reptile as a pet. In a way, that's a good thing. It means that you know that you've reached them and that they're not scared of these animals, that they're enthusiastic. But you don't want them taking the creatures out of the wild because that obviously would contradict everything that we've just been trying to teach them. So bring these snakes along just as an offering of a type of snake that they could get as a pet if they really wanted one. And again, we don't try and push the whole pet agenda, but ultimately we can't control what these kids are going to do later. So at least offering up a better suggestion for a pet reptile is, we find, a good thing. If you guys want to hold some corn snakes, go for it. They're a great snake to handle as well.